But now is the dawn of a new era as Dave Villwock climbs back into the cockpit in pursuit of the championship that got away from him. The Miss Budweiser has pursuers trying to get by her. Steve David and Jim Harvey's boat would love to stop the charge. And Mark Evans in the Pico American Dream has dreams of his own. The battle begins today. Dave Villwock began last season in grand fashion. 4 victories for Bernie Little and the Miss Budweiser in 4 starts. But tragedy struck in Tri-Cities, ending a quest for a championship that begins anew now. Hello, everybody. I'm John Nicholson, and I have with me the man himself, Dave Villwock. 15 surgeries, and 11 months later, here you are back racing and racing fast. What's it like to be back in the cockpit, Dave?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, the guys have done a great job all winter long, and I've worked out extensively, you know, to get my body in better shape than probably ever. So, you know, we're excited about this year.
You went through a terrible experience, all those surgeries, and more to come. Is there any fear out there?
No, the guys have done a tremendous job. There's a whole new capsule in Miss Budweiser's, actually both Miss Budweisers, and you know, I just feel really safe in there.
How about steering?
Steering's great. You know, like as I said, I worked out at least 3 times a week, 3 hours a day, all winter long to really rehab my arm and my hand, and we did a lot of things with the steering wheel and the steering systems in the cockpit. And actually, to tell you the truth, it's easier to steer the boat this year than it was last year.
He's back. He's confident, going fast. Dave Villwock and the Budweiser, in fact, the team to beat here in Evansville. There's a big change in this year's tour. Let's go to Steve Montgomery.
John, this is the clock that we'll be talking about throughout the 1998 season. The start clock is back in unlimited hydroplane racing. As you can see, it reads 5 minutes right now, and that's about the time most of the drivers choose to leave the dock and move on to the race course. Their job then is to arrive at, but not across, the start-finish line as this big clock ticks down to 0. Now, keep in mind, they are traveling at about a football field per second. So that is not an easy task, but these guys have been doing it for years, and they are experts. How important is it that they actually see this display from the cockpit? Well, as we all know, they all have radios now, and somebody counting down in their ear as well.
Thank you, Steve. Now, before we go to our first clock start of the day here on the Ohio, let's first turn back the clock to April in Phoenix, Arizona. Plenty of people on hand to watch the top finishers on last year's tour battle each other on Firebird Lake. Here is the big Miss Budweiser. Mark Webber, who is now the backup driver, was driving here. There, of course, Mark Evans, driver of Pico, always full of personality. And his competition in the head-to-head final, driving Jim Harvey's prime star, Steve David. Well, Pico would win the shootout. Pico would be favored, you would think, early in the season. But did that bother Steve David? Apparently not. Get a load of this when he comes back onto the shore.
Good job, buddy.
Good job. You bet. Man, the old sea monster got you out there, too.